You're listening to This Week in No Code plus AI, with weekly episodes sharing the latest advancements of AI, plus exclusive interviews, founders using these tools. So without any further ado, let's get started. Welcome to This Week in No Code plus AI. I'm JJ Englert, and I am your host of This Week in No Code. Today, we're diving deep into the art and science of mastering AI prompts with our special guest, Jonathan Mast. If you've ever struggled to get exactly the results you want from AI, this episode is going to be a game changer for you. Jonathan will break down the strategies and techniques to craft prompts that truly unlock the potential of AI tools. But before we get into that, let's dive into the incredible development shaking up the AI and no-code world this week. Let's start off talking about Model Context Protocol, MCP for short, the game-changing standard that's about to revolutionize how AI agents interact with our favorite tools. OpenAI has just announced that they're supporting MCP, joining Anthropic and even Zapier in adopting this powerful protocol. What makes MCP so exciting is its simplicity and power. It provides a universal way for AI agents to access data and actions across multiple applications like Google Workspace, Airtable, HubSpot, and beyond. This is a massive leap forward in AI integration, essentially creating a universal language for AI to interact with our everyday tools. Make also just unveiled their new AI agent node in their automation platform, something that feels almost inevitable given the rapid evolution of AI integrations and automation tools. And as an early beta tester, I'm excited to deep dive and share my thoughts on this development in the future episodes. This is another exciting milestone in the no-code automation space, and it's great to see so many players adapting AI agents. Speaking of such, NAN just secured an impressive 55 million euros in Series B funding, bringing their total funding to over 68 million euros. Led by Highland Europe, this investment is set to supercharge the platform's growth, which is growing very quickly. And what's fascinating is that their LLM integrations now represent over 75% of workflows on their platforms, a clear sign of how AI is transforming the automation industry. Microsoft is also making waves in the manufacturing sector with two groundbreaking AI agents. Their factory safety and factory operations agents, part of Microsoft Copilot Studio, are set to revolutionize how manufacturing teams approach safety training and data insights. They'll be showcasing these agents at an upcoming event, and we're excited to see how they're thinking about bringing these AI agents to real life and get real results. OpenAI has dropped a major update to ChatGPT's image generation capabilities with ChatGPT 4.0. Pro subscribers can now create and modify images natively with ChatGPT, with improvements in accuracy and detail that blow DALL-E 3 out of the water. The ability to edit existing images, even those with people and text, is a game changer for content creators and designers, and I have been really impressed with this update. So many things you can now do with this image generation capabilities. And speaking of AI agents, we have my latest course on AI agents. It's live at nocodealliance.org. What started as a 3-hour curriculum has expanded to 8 comprehensive hours of content. The NAN module alone is 4 hours as I dive deep into building AI agents for various professional use cases. I've secured over $200 in free software credits from 4 out of the 5 platforms featured in the course. And as a special bonus, I've included exclusive interviews with CEOs and team members from these platforms, giving you unprecedented behind-the-scenes insights. This also includes NAN, which has raised 55 million euros, and I'm teaching you that, one of the hottest platforms out. Great time to learn this tool, especially with this cash infusion. But there are some other announcements of the week that I want to talk about, including Google's co-founder Larry Page launched Dynatomics, an AI startup focused on next-generation manufacturing. Elon Musk's Gronk AI chatbot continues to make headlines for all sorts of reasons, and poor Elon Musk can't catch a break with Tesla and so many other things. We'll leave that there. Otherwise, Meta unveiled Llama 4, a new voice-powered AI model. Home Depot introduced an AI-powered Magic Apron for retail employees. Shield AI raised a massive $240 million for AI-powered autonomy and defense technology. And Google acquired a massive security firm for around $32 billion, reinforcing its commitment to security in the enterprise sector. With AI agents and AI bots becoming more powerful than ever before, security on the web is becoming more challenged than ever before. And this is their move to make sure that their Google suite of products continues to be at the top end of security. And it's a big bet at $32 billion. The biggest bet of their history. Let's hope it pays off. Until then, let's now welcome Jonathan Mast and unlock the secrets of crafting the perfect AI prompts onto the show. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat a little bit about prompting. I think it's a I don't want to compare it to a relationship because AI is not sentient, but it's like any relationship. The better your communication is, the better things work out. And boy, it certainly holds true when it comes to responses out of AI.
That's a really good point. Just communication generally, and especially when you're using multiple agents and just having them communicate clearly to each other is a very important thing. And then communication continues to be important. And with AI nearly everywhere we look, the one thing that is central is prompting. And if you become a better prompter, you could start to expect better results out of AI because you're communicating properly with it. And of course, AI has ways that it likes to be communicated with as well. So let us know a little bit about you, and then let's get deeper into prompting.
Sounds good. My background's actually in digital marketing. I sold my first website in 1995, so I'm an old dude, probably about the time you were a toddler, I'm guessing, if not before. And I have really just loved everything technology and digital marketing related. I had a great agency, started in 2010 and grew that. And then as that grew and we did real well back in 2022, before actually ChatGPT came out, I was starting to get a little anxious and just it felt like it was time for a change. It had been almost 15 years in my own agency. And then ChatGPT came out with this magical interface for AI. And of course, we've been playing around with AI for a long time. That's not new, but that made it approachable and accessible. And I am an ADD visionary entrepreneur in the most truest sense. One of the things that AI for me really served was the ability to get more things done because I could do things so much faster. And for me, it was like this light bulb moment. I was like, oh my gosh, all these things that I've wanted to do, all these things that I do want to do on almost a daily basis that I don't get around to because I don't have enough time. I'm now able to make a massive dent in these things because I can use AI. Good example was this morning. We had to redo my speaker bio page. I do some speaking both virtually like this as well as in person. And it was time for an update. And of course, we'd ignored it for too long. And so this morning, my ops manager and I, we hopped on, and in 22 minutes, we took the entire page. We fed the content into ChatGPT because we've trained it on my voice and my company and everything else, and we rewrote everything. We explained the problem we were having, which is some people want a long bio, some people want a short bio, some people want a mid bio. How do we accommodate all this? It rewrote all of my bio stuff. It rewrote all of the website content. It even gave us a new layout to put it in to make it easier to do. And we had it implemented using WordPress on our website in 22 minutes. In the past, that would have been a week-long project that would have went back and forth. And as a result, this is the big thing for me, JJ, it would have never gotten done. We would have lived with that mediocre solution because it wasn't terrible. It was mediocre. We would have lived with that for another 6 months or more until somebody didn't hire me because of that page. And then all of a sudden it'd be now important. And AI to me is just this incredible tool that can amplify your skill and experience. And going back to where we started, when you know how to communicate with it, you can get just incredible results. And you combine that with just a little bit of training, which is part of the communication, and your mind can literally be blown. And the amount of time you can save, that's great. And I talk about that. But the real value is the things that you're going to now get done that you never got around to before because there just wasn't time in your busy life.
Yeah, not only that, but the things that you can now do that you couldn't do before because you didn't have those skills. I think we're seeing a lot of that with vibe coding in terms of creating games for the first
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or creating websites or apps for the first time that you never thought you could do, but all of a sudden AI has unlocked those abilities. And now all of a sudden you have these skills that you can do and you can do it faster than ever before. I think there's so many awesome examples of what you can now do. It comes down to communication, prioritization, and having the sense of belief and empowerment that you can do that. And I don't know about you, but a lot of the people I talk to are still a little nervous about, I don't know if I'm smart enough to do this, or I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah.
I have the time to do this. And so any advice for those that are like on the edge of, they work 9 to 5, they're busy professionals, they know a little bit about ChatGPT, but like any advice for them to take a little bit further step out into the waters?
Absolutely. The best advice I give is, you know what, don't work too hard at it. In other words, don't overcomplicate it. AI really doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And if you're already working 9 to 5, you're busting your tail, you probably don't have more time. And so the last thing, like you're saying, JJ, is how do I do this? Well, give yourself during your next lunch hour, instead of going ahead and watching Instagram reels or Facebook reels or YouTube shorts, take a couple minutes and think in your day and go, what's one thing I could do today that I really don't love doing, but I need to do? Maybe for a lot of people, it's writing that difficult email. This morning, I needed to write somebody that had invited me to come speak in Costa Rica. And I had to let them know that we really needed to adjust and figure out what the financial compensation was going to be. Got to make sure my travel costs are covered, things like that. It's their event. And those are hard emails sometimes to write because you want to be polite, you want to be professional. We all have those in business, whether it's a customer that's not happy, a vendor. Again, I was able to literally within about 3 minutes go into ChatGPT, loaded up a custom GPT that I've trained on me. Don't worry about that if you're not familiar with it. But just, I said, here's what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. And it wrote the most amazing email for me that literally in about 20 seconds, I was able to edit a couple keywords. Yes, you proof it before you send it. And what would, admittedly, even in my case with AI, I've been avoiding sending this email for nearly 3 weeks. Every day when I go over stuff with my ops manager, she's like, we sending the email today? Not today. Because I'm an ADD guy. And so I have two time modes, now and not now. And it's been not now for almost 3 weeks. I literally pounded it out in under 3 minutes. And it was great. He responded very positively. We're having a great conversation. And I'm like, why did I avoid that for 3 weeks? I avoided it for 3 weeks because I wasn't sure what to do until this morning. It's okay, I got to do something. And so I asked AI to help me. So whether it's that email, maybe you're in the operation side of the house and you're like, you know what, I really need to do, I need to take stuff that's up here in my head and I need to get it into an SOP so my team can follow it. Again, depending on who you are and your personality type, sometimes the time it takes to fill that out and the detail you need to get into can be arduous. But with ChatGPT, and again, you can use Claude or Gemini, any of the AIs, whatever AI you have, by the way, in front of you is probably the one you should be using today. Don't worry about the perfect tool. But literally, I explained to it, I need an SOP step by step to give to this audience, in the case my team, to complete the following. Here's my thoughts, my bullet points. Ask me any questions you have. And in a few minutes, we've crafted literally a multi page, step by step standard operating procedure that, by the way, remembered things that I was going to forget in the process, filled in some blanks, asked some great questions along the way. And now, instead of the getting frustrated because people aren't doing what I want them to do, now all of a sudden we've taken 5 minutes and we've created a plan to do that. And even better, because the next question is how do you get people to follow it? Once you've got your SOP, say, now that you've got the SOP, would you create a checklist that my team can give back to me to make sure they follow the SOP? And 30, 60 seconds later, you've got a perfectly formatted checklist that follows your SOP step by step. That's now simple and you can give to your team or whoever you need to go, at the end of the job, I just need this back. And problem solved. So those are just two things that come to mind. The other thing I'd love to deal with, JJ, real quick, I just touched on, everybody asks, what AI tool should I use? Do I need ChatGPT? Do I need Gemini? Do I need Claude? What? Oh my gosh, there's so many. Don't worry about the tool you're using. Whatever one you have in front of you today that you have access to will already allow you to make such incredible leaps ahead. There may be ones down the road that you decide you like better, but today you're not going to find the perfect AI tool. Find the one you have access to. ChatGPT is great. It's what I use most of the time. Gemini's new version, I have not been a fan of Google and AI until the last few weeks. And oh my gosh, their new stuff. It's like, where were you, Google? It's amazing. Claude, again, massive updates in the last couple of weeks. A platform I've always loved, but was getting a little disenchanted with, has now come back super strong. So whatever you have access to, and by the way, if you don't have access to any of them and you have a Facebook or an Instagram account, you have access to Meta AI. You just literally go to meta.ai. It's a very good tool and it's free. All you need is a free account on Facebook or Instagram. So there's no excuse not to start using it and trying it. And if you don't want to use it on your computer, use it on your phone. And if you're really worried about it, set up a VPN, but just access it. Don't worry about it. Don't give it your social number. Don't give it stuff like that. But use it daily to help you do one new task. And if you do that over 2 weeks, your mind is going to be full of ideas that you never thought of that you could use AI for.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good use cases. I'll go through a couple of them and then I want to talk about what we could do to make better prompts. But Some of
Sure.
them are, so I work for software and we have to sometimes create forms for intake, whether it's a contest, it's an application, et
Hmm.
cetera. And so I'll build a form out and then I'll take a picture of that form and I'll send it to ChatGPT and say, hey, what can I do better? How can I be more clear
Yes.
about providing my placeholder or my text for getting the answers that I want out of this form? So very simple. I take a screenshot, paste it, and it provides me with better text. Another way is I edit a lot of videos. And so I use Descript to help me edit videos. And
I
Descript has
love
a
it.
lot of AI features that cuts out all the uhs and the ums that it's going to cut out right there for me automatically. Plus, it automatically creates clips for me of the best highlights around keywords. And so I'm using AI in my video editing for that purposes. I've never been a strong writer, and but I am a really good communicator. My grammar and everything has never been a highlight for me. And so professionally writing all that kind of stuff, I always didn't have the confidence until AI came around. Now I feel really confident writing in any kind of medium that I need to because I know how to communicate well enough with AI to get the results that I'm looking for that medium, right? And so it's really empowered me as a writer as well. I use it to write my scripts anytime I'm doing video scripts for any kind of promotional stuff like that. It helps me with. So what I'm trying to say is all aspects of life. There's many ways that you can use AI to help you, and it will not only give you most likely better results, but help you get there faster so you could focus on the more important things in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way you do that. AI is not an easy button. Some people are like, "Oh, I just press and it takes care of." No, it needs you. You need to be part of it. But if it allows you to take a 4-hour task and do it in 30 minutes, and you can do that twice a day, you just got a day's worth of work done in an hour. And now that's probably exaggerating, but the whole point is it absolutely does that. And it does. It creates a better life for you. It allows you to build a life that you want that's not necessarily so filled with drama and deadlines. And let's face it, nobody loves those.
I think also from competitively, businesses are tightening up right now. Employees are able to do a lot more with a lot less now. And I think as businesses look to tighten up, they're looking at output, productivity. They're looking at how adaptable are these employees to these new tools. And I think those that are using AI in a effective manner will probably have a higher output and will probably be able to help the team go into the next generation of tooling and operations, et cetera, and be more of an asset than those that don't use AI or don't leverage AI in those ways. And I think it's just going to help in many different ways in that conversation.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. No, and let's maybe if it is okay, can we talk about maybe how to prompt? What everybody's wondering, okay, now you've convinced me, let's do this. How do we do it? The first thing I want to do is I want to encourage people not to fall prey for buying or getting lists of prompts. Not that they're necessarily all bad, although most of them that I've bought are, but it's a waste of your time. In other words, if I saw one just the other day, 10,008 prompts that I could get that were designed exactly for my industry. Let's just say that we cut that down a bit and we just go to 100 prompts. If the next time I want to create something, I have to go through a list of 100 prompts to find what I want, that's not very efficient. So what we did is we developed a simple framework. There's many of them out there. Ours is 4 steps because we want to keep it really simple. The first step is tell the AI what type of expert that it is. So if I'm going to write an SOP, you're an expert copywriter specializing in writing SOPs. Then give it background. And the easiest way I can explain this, JJ, is if you and I are working on a project and let's say you're an expert at writing SOPs, and I walk up to your desk and I go, JJ, I need an SOP. And you go, no, great, no problem, Jonathan, I can do that. Got a couple questions. And I go, no, never mind. You just figure it out. You're an expert. And I walk away. You're not going to get an SOP that matches what I want because you don't have any context. We do this with AI, though, all the time, and we don't give it context. So we need to give it context. Hey, I'm looking for an SOP about this, blah, blah, blah. The third part is our question, and that's what most people do. That's all they do. It's, I need an SOP about this. If you do nothing else, remember step 4, because step 4 is actually something I don't see very often. It will absolutely change and it works every single time. So if you're looking for that silver bullet, it's close. End your prompt with ask me any questions you have. Whatever you typed, whatever you asked ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, you name it to do, just end it with ask me any questions you have. And see, the key is AI, it's not sentient, but it generally knows what data points it needs in order to respond to you effectively. I don't always know what those data points are. And so I'm probably going to miss some. It's also been trained to make assumptions because it knows that we'll go crazy if it asks questions all the time and acts like a 3-year-old. So it then just makes assumptions. We know what happens when we make assumptions. We resemble the southbound end of a northbound mule. So we don't want that to happen. So just end your prompt with ask me any questions. And what's that sound like in an SOP prompt? You're an expert copywriter who's specializing in writing SOPs. I need an SOP to teach my team how to upload a blog from Google Docs into my WordPress website and use Yoast SEO to optimize it. Please create a step-by-step SOP and ask me any questions you have. And you'll end up again with a 3 to 5 page detailed step-by-step SOP with things you never thought of that are put together. And it's that simple.
I love the framework. I especially love point 4, ask me questions, because yeah, context means everything. Giving it proper knowledge, proper background, so it can give you the results you're looking for is huge. A big thing with the work that I do is I like to include some kind of knowledge base or knowledge source with any kind of task that I'm providing, right? And I told you about this today. I'm currently working on creating a new certification process for our software developers. And I would like to use AI to help me create these questions, but it can only do that if it has the proper knowledge available to it to create those questions. And so for that, I was able to connect our software docs, our software YouTube channel, and our other related software resources that it can then crawl those resources, search those transcripts, and get the information that it needs to create real information, to create high quality questions. Now, they're not all going to be perfect, but it gets you like 85% there without you having to go back through all of those videos and watch them one by one kind of thing. And it drastically speeds up the process. But the most important part is that background, that context that you give it. The more you give it, the better quality you'll get.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's like anything else, garbage in, garbage out. We've all heard that and we've all done that, but it is so true. And again, that's why I try to compare it. JJ, if you and I are working together and we're working on a project, we've all had somebody come up and say, I need this, and then turn around and refuse to give us anything. And we're like, I can't do this if you don't give me the information. But unfortunately, we seem to just assume that with AI that it can read our minds, and we don't give it that context. And that context is so incredibly important.
What about tactics for saving context or saving those conversations or saving those memories for future use? Maybe in Claude, you might say projects, etc. Any tips that you might have for users of threading these things so you can come back to them and it has that continuous context already built in?
So one thing is keep your conversation separate. Much like text conversations, every conversation is unique. Don't write social media posts and then create an SOP and then do an email all in the same chat. You can do all three in succession, but start a new conversation for each, because then I can go back a minute later, an hour later, a week later, and pick up where that conversation was. So that's step number one. If you're using ChatGPT and you're not working with clients, I encourage you to turn on the memory feature. It's on by default, and use it because it'll learn more about you as it goes along and it'll become better at what it does. If you, like me, I work with a lot of clients, I've actually turned memory off. Then what I do is I've literally created a style snippet that represents who Jonathan is, my personality. I've uploaded a lot of my content, had AI analyze it. And now I've got about a paragraph that doesn't sound like much, but it literally gives the AI model I'm using reams of data on who I am. So it sounds like me. On ChatGPT, I have it set up as a custom GPT so that I can go to that. Even better, my team can go to that. So when they're writing stuff, they can write in my voice. I have it as a Claude project, so I can use it there. I have it set up as a Google Gem and Gemini. All three of those, if you're not familiar, by the way, basically allow you to give custom training data to the AI, and then you can click on a link and it has all that knowledge right there. So
And it
those are the
might
things
sound
I recommend.
technical, but it's not. You can do that.
Oh, in seconds, it's really easy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Have you had a chance to try out ChatGPT's new image generation that launched this week?
I'm actually working on a prompt as we sit that's sitting over here in my screen waiting to be published. I'm really impressed. So I have a AI news avatar that I've created. It's a persona that writes AI news articles for my Facebook group. And in that process, one of the things that came up last night in the news that we wrote a story about was how this particular style, and I'm going to get it wrong, I'll have to look here to get the right word, Ghibli or something like that. This particular style has been really popular, and all of a sudden
Just
there's all these
viral in the
copy.
last 24 hours.
Exactly. So I literally, what I did is I had Helena, that's my avatar, write a news story. And then I thought, you know what? We could have fun with this. So I literally took, I have a Helena's cartoon image. I uploaded a picture of her to ChatGPT 4.0. And then I said, here's the news story. I'd like you to create a 6-frame comic strip using this image of Helena, including the text bubbles and including all that, and give me that in a layout. I then took that and then said, now create me the image. And it literally created me a 6-panel comic strip in the Ghibli style. I'm going to probably say that right,
I think you got
but
that.
looking just like my AI avatar does in that style. And I'm literally writing a post, and it took what was a, I don't know, page long news story and turned it into a 6-frame comic strip. And every word is spelled right. Everything is laid out proper. This is when probably one of the biggest image updates I've seen. Now, I still like a couple other tools better for certain styles of image, but that ability to think as like a copywriter or a graphic artist, I would have never been able to create a 6-panel comic strip on my own. I'm not a graphic artist, but it took probably 5 minutes to generate. So it wasn't fast, but it took 5 minutes, not 5 hours, not 5 days. It just blew my mind.
It's very impressive. I have very similar results. And again, it's about that communication. It's about the prompt. You can give it a ton of different styles. You can give it a ton of different things. The text to say, the text is coming up really good quality. Finally able
Yeah.
to have that image text in there really nicely. My wife the other night spent about an hour and a half creating an upcoming flyer for a small business in Canva. And just because I'm that guy, I sent that same prompt to ChatGPT and in 5 minutes sent her my version of the flyer that she spent an hour and a half on. And maybe hers was just a tiny bit better, but mine took 5 minutes, hers took an hour and a half, and they're apples to apples.
Yeah. And that's where it gets so exciting. And some people, they're really worried, JJ, about, oh my gosh, AI is going to take away all our creativity. No, AI is going to actually allow me to be so much more creative than I ever was. I have never in my life, at least not since high school when I was bored, have tried to draw a comic strip. But now today I've created one that I've shared and is actually really good and gets a point across and is engaging and everything else. And it was still my idea. I AI didn't come up with the idea. I did. I gave it the instructions and said, here's what I want. And then AI just helped make it a reality. And again, as we were talking earlier, it did so in something I would have thought about a year ago or 2 years ago and thought, oh, that'd be really cool. I don't have time to do that. And it would never have happened.
Yeah, another thing that came up recently is I was on vacation, and whenever I go on vacation, I have a lot of thoughts. Like the first couple of days, it's vacation mode, but then after that, I start to get my work brain going. I can't really turn it off. But my wife doesn't like to talk business when we're on vacation or anything like that. And so this time, I just opened up ChatGPT voice mode and just had a conversation with that
Isn't it amazing?
voice mode for a long, probably 30 minutes. And then I was like, hey, give me my action points based on this of the next
Yes.
steps I need to take, clarify these thoughts, help me figure that out. And it was really good to the point where all that anxiety that I was feeling, all those things I had to get off my chest, I got off the chest and then I had clear action steps for what to do when I got back from vacation. And it honestly helped me a lot.
And it's so cool. There's 2 things you mentioned. One, the voice mode is awesome, and the fact that it can talk back. What I use even, and if you're using AI and you're looking, man, I need a productivity hack, turn on the transcription feature on your phone or your computer. And literally, I now prompt by talking to it. So I don't actually turn on the voice mode where it talks back to me, but I have a key combination. I press it twice on my keyboard and make sure my cursor's in there. And now instead of typing the prompt and thinking, I literally talk it. It's so fast. And ironically, because these AI models are large language models that use natural language processing, when you just talk to them, they actually, in many cases, perform better.
What other stuff can we talk about with prompting to get better results or how to be more clear, how to maybe set up some frameworks that work for professionals? Anything else come to mind?
Again, I found over the last couple of years that when you use something like that perfect prompting framework I share, tell the expert, tell the context, ask your question, ask me any questions, that really works for virtually anything you need. Now, the one exception to that is probably images. If we're trying to create images or music or video, then that type of style doesn't work as well. But what I've done there is I use ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to actually then create the prompt that I need for my music, or to create the prompt, and I follow the perfect prompt framework. Let's say I'm going to do music. You're an expert music songwriter. I want you to create a song and all the lyrics about this topic, maybe this mood. I'd like the music style to be as follows. Create a prompt that I can give to a music generation tool. Great stuff. Then I literally pop over to something like Suno or Refusion or a music tool, and I copy and paste it over. And generally, within a minute or two, I've got just incredible songs that have come out. I do the same thing with images and with video. It's, it's something I know that a lot of people don't always do. It's why should I use one to the other? But if you use ChatGPT to feed, you will find it knows the AI world better enough that it creates really good prompts to do that. And again, it allows you to do so much faster. The other night we were sitting on the sofa, my wife and I, we've been married 22 years, and she informed me that Open Arms by, I'm going to get it wrong, by either Journey or Foreigner, and I don't remember which band it is like her favorite rock ballad. And I remember I looked at her and I'm like, we've been married 22 years. You've never told me that. And I immediately went over to ChatGPT and had it write a song based upon that song and that style. I turned over to Rifffusion, which is a free music tool, and put it in there. And I texted it to her about 4 minutes later. And she's, "What are you texting me music at 11 o'clock at night for?" I said, "I'll just listen to it." I want to be clear to the people that are like, "Oh my gosh, you just copied their song." No, it wasn't the same song. It was unique lyrics. It was about my wife and I, and it had the same vibe, so to speak, as the original song. But no one would ever in a million years think that they were the same song. Not in a million years. At best, they might go, "Oh, that kind of reminds me a little bit of Open Arms, that old rock ballad." But again, I've never written music before. I've been married for 22 years, never sent my wife anything I did in music. And I had the opportunity to do that. And those are things that are just really cool and are fun. And that's the other thing. Remember, AI doesn't all have to be work. Some of it's just having fun.
Over last summer, we have this really cool cat in the neighborhood, and my family and I were sitting down at the dinner table, and we saw this cat come through. And I was like, you know what? Let's have some fun. So I was like, can you tell? I opened ChatGPT. I was like, can you write a story, a children's story about this neighborhood cat? And he likes to do X, Y, and Z. And then I just allowed a ChatGPT to read the story out loud to the family while eating dinner. And it came up with this incredible custom made story about our neighborhood cat that we all love and that we got to listen to right on demand, right then and there.
Absolutely. No, I'm a grandfather, and I did something similar for my grandson. He's 2.5, and I created, he's into like heavy equipment and trucks and cranes. And so I literally had AI write a story for somebody that was 2.5 years old in a style. I then had it give me a video script that I could put in, and we created 5 video clips to stitch together. And then I uploaded that to Refusion and said, create a song that would do that. And we combined it together, the music, the video, and the voiceover. And it was awesome as a grandpa, because what happened is my daughter-in-law texted me back about a half hour later, a video of my grandson dancing around the kitchen. And as soon as it stopped, he turned the phone to his mom and said more, and he wanted to know what to do it again. Just fun stuff that, again, I'm not a story writer, I'm not a video producer, I'm not a music writer, but now I was able to touch base with my grandson who's 14 hours away. I don't get to see every day. So just some really cool things like that have not been possible before.
Yeah, as we work to wrap up here, let's talk a little bit about that future and what it looks like. I think staying on the younger generation right now, I think because you can now prompt and as long as you can communicate clearly, you can get these results. You can have younger generations create web apps. You can have them create their own games. You can have them create their own stories as long as they're able to prompt and talk to it. And so
Really.
I do think that these younger generations are going to be creating more AI things across the board younger than ever before, which is going to really equip them with the tools that they need for this next generation, which is exciting.
Absolutely.
There are some negatives that come with that. I've seen even with the Lovable stuff going around, 8-year-old, 9-year-old kids now creating their own websites and apps just by talking to Lovable and making that happen, which it's really exciting stuff to have an 8 or 9-year-old kind of build technology in that way.
It's super exciting. One of my students that takes my class, I teach a lot of adults how to use AI, and one of them recently just shared with me they had a project in their community over the weekend where they literally brought in a bunch of youngsters. It was an event of some sort, and one of the things they did, They had iPads there. And as a group, they had 3 and 4 year olds decide what the story should be like. And they had AI created in real time, projected it up on a TV. If you've ever had 3 and 4 year olds run, their attention span is shorter than a gnat. They spent nearly 30 minutes in rapt attention building a story that they all were excited about. And she showed me a video that was taken of it because of the fact that they were involved in it and it's something that kept their attention. And they were then excited because it was now their video that they created. They came up with the names, they came up with the characters, they put it all together. I just love things like that. And it's like these are just opportunities that are so incredibly amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun. Jonathan, where can people find more about you, your work, the things that you do, and become more involved with that?
Thanks for asking. Just remember my name. It's Jonathan Mast. Go to jonathanmast.com. And if you want to put a /link tree, it'll go to a ton of free resources, a few paid ones, but most everything there's free. Connect. I think as JJ, I have a large Facebook group. We talk all about AI prompting. It's totally free. It's called AI Prompts for Entrepreneurs on Facebook. If you're there, yeah, just connect. I'd love to connect with everybody out and help you guys embrace AI.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on the show today. It was a pleasure. The framework is great. That number 4, I'm going to start including myself in all my
It's
prompts.
massive.
Thanks for that tip.
Thank you.
It was great talking with Jonathan, learning more about his framework, specifically question number 4, which I'm going to be including in all of my prompts going forward. It's amazing what being a good communicator can do for you, whether it's in life, personal, professional, business, using AI agents. Communications is key. And just having good communication with you and your agent, especially given it the context, the role, the background of what it needs to provide you with the answers you're looking for, is really important. And I hope you took that away from this lesson of how to prompt better, how to communicate better with your AI, no matter the tool that you're using. Otherwise, it was another fantastic week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a ton. If so, please leave us a review wherever you're listening to us. Leave us a comment, share us around. We really appreciate any support you can give us. Otherwise, we will see you next week on This Week in No Code plus AI. See you guys.